Okay, so let's take a look at how you can get the Hexbin chart in Matplotlib. So first thing, we will open terminal and try and install Matplotlib and Jupyter notebook, right? So let me move to another drive, and here we will pip install Matplotlib, right? We will also install Jupyter -lab, right? Once you have these two things, you are ready to go. Now to write your code, you can use Jupyter space notebook, or you can use Jupyter -all, right? Sorry, it should be Jupyter -lab, right? So when we type in this keyword, and it should open new instance of your browser where you will be able to run the code in Python notebook, right? As you can see, this opens up a edge window where you will be taken to lab dashboard, and it has option to use Python console or notebook. So click on notebook, and here we will be typing in numpy as np. Then we will also use matplotlib.pyplot as in plt, right? So we have these two things. Next thing, we can also use np.random.seed, and then next we will get values for x and y. So np.random.normal, where we have 0 increment by 1 all the way to say 10,000 or 10 lakh, right? So we can think of such values. Now for y, we can use 3 into x plus, let's say, 5 into np dot. We will just pick up the case for our x. So we have now x and y values. We can now begin plotting. So plt dot subplots, right? And then ax dot hexbin, right? So this should take your x to x, y to y, right? We have these two things. Next thing, we can use plt show, right? So if we select everything and run, let's see what happens. It will show you the Hexbin chart. This is the basic one where we haven't changed much of parameters, right? So for example, say I want to work with grid size. So I will just go to Hexbin function and then type in grid size and set it to say 5 to 15, anything between that. So let's go with 15 and run this. Notice that there is a change in grid. Now your Hexbin plot looks more like some sort of a stamp, right? These values you can keep on editing. Let's say you choose 25. Larger you take, the more grid will apply. Shorter you will take, you will get total view changed. So it's kind of like a zoom, but here you get the grid, right? So let's see, if I choose 10, it should be the right amount, right? So it still gets you a bit zoomed in version for your data. So stick with 15. It seems to be the most right value to view your Hexbin chart, right? So another one of the values that you can edit is bins. So you can choose bins as log value or bins as some numerical number. So we use bins and equals to, we use, sorry, I accidentally used shift enter, so just use log, beans set to log, and then shift enter. You will get something like this. So this is more of a log value, and if you want to have a numerical value, you can choose beans set to say 5 or 10. Now you will have numerical value for the bin. You will get your Hexbin chart. So based on what you choose, the type of chart that you get here would be different. Right now, if you want to change the transparency, you can use alpha set to 0.5. Right, so pretty much everything looks a bit transparent, right? So if we go with the lowest value, we will see that it will be less visible, right? So closer you get to the 0, the visibility is reduced, and higher you go towards 1, it will show you much better view. So 0.6, 0.5 to 0.6 seems to be the right number, right? So this is how you change the transparency using alpha parameter. And there is a border color for which you will use edge color equals to white and line width equals to 1.25. so let's go with 1.5, right? So select all, and you will notice your beans, line width, and edge color, everything is mixed up. So let's remove the transparency and let's see how it looks now. Edge color is white now, and line width is 1.5. If we change that, let's see what happens. And now it looks something like this. You can also change edge color to any other if you want more clarity, but this is something most of the people use for their own use. So let's play with the grid size within this scenario. So if I use grid size of 15 and I run with this configuration, it should look much cleaner now, right? One more thing, you can also play with line width higher, 1.5. Let's see how the chart appears. Now it looks something like this, right? So you get the idea how to play with grid size and edge color, right? Now we will get rid of edge color and line width. Let's keep the grid size as is. Now we'll also add beans, and for that we will use a log value. Also I can edit CMap, which is kind of a color palette, and I will use magma, right? So if I select everything and run, it should show me the magma output of current configuration, right? So managed up to color palette. You can also change some of the values, something like, let's say AX, then set underscore title, right? And within this I can use Hexbin chart. You can also add grid to existing chart with ax.grid. Let's see if that shows me something different. And you notice you have title for your chart, then also a grid. So for those people who are looking for grid based Hexbin chart, this is the configuration to use, right? So what we have done so far is we have managed to create a basic Hexbin chart, then we manipulated grid size, we played with beans with log value and numerical value. We also checked the transparency, alpha transparency, then border color, color palette, and also managed to change title of plot and also adjusted the grid, right? So you kind of get the idea of how to create your Hexbin chart and how to display your values or data with the help of it, right? So if you play around with the CMap value along with the beans grid size, you have much clearer way for viewing your data in this type of chart, right?